Once again, welcome to iSoCIAL's another session, and this session is all the more interesting and exciting for all of us because not only my one of the best friends are there on this session this time, he is the most sought after digital storyteller also. We exclusively doing this video shoot with the live audience, and we are not putting it under any of the hats so that we all should be able to look at the power of today's topic, and the topic is digital storytelling and brand journalism. So, Dr. Amit Nagpal, I officially and formally welcome you to our session. So, over to you, and more in terms of, I'm sure we all want to learn more about that how digital storytelling and brand journalism are hand in hand together. So please be seated. Before we start, I will quickly give a gist of Dr. Amit Nagpal's profile, especially just like our iSoCIAL different hats, he is also wearing different hats of the achievements and the kind of domain he is into when we talk about digital social media. So Dr. Amit Nagpal is a business storyteller, keynote speaker, a social media coach. He is one of the pioneers of digital storytelling in India, an MBA in marketing and PhD in digital media. He has more than 2 decades of work experience in academics and corporate world in online as well as mass media. As a social media influencer, he has an international following on major social platforms including Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Blogger. He is one of the 500 most influential Indians online as per Pinstorm India Influencer Rankings. He has been interviewed on several media including Voice America. As a blogger and author, his blog Enlarge, Excel, Evolve is globally popular and is listed on alltop.com. Many of his blog posts have appeared on top global blogs. He has published 3 books on media and related subjects. His latest book, Personal Branding, Storytelling and Beyond, is first book by Indian authors on the subject. As a speaker, he is much sought after speaker at digital marketing summits, professional associations, B schools and corporates. He has conducted trainings for reputed organizations including Accenture, Tata Communications, G.D. Goenka World Institute, and associations including PRSI, DMA, STC India, and so on. As a coach, in fact, see there's so much in your profile. As a coach, he has coached many CXOs, knowledgepreneurs, IT entrepreneurs, and top professionals in social media and brand storytelling. He is now based out of Gurgaon, India, and tweets at Dr. Amit Inspires. To know more, you may visit his website, dramitnagpal.com. So, and of course, you're welcome to write him also. In fact, all these details, in any case, you will see in our video. Then you can write to him directly also at amit@dramitnagpal.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Amit Nagpal, to be on our channel, and I'm sure there's a larger global audience waiting to hear from you. And I still remember when we guys started talking about, what is digital storytelling, and you were the first one to somewhere clear my doubts that it goes so well hand in hand when we're talking about digital social media campaigns that we guys are specializing into. So the format is very simple. What we will do is, we have put certain questions. Few questions will be coming from my side, while the rest will be coming from the audience side. And in that Q&A, Dr. Amit Nagpal shall be trying to bring the practical touch that if you have to run any of the campaigns, or if you have to utilize the power of digital storytelling, what are the finer points that you and I need to take care of? So, shall we start?
Sure.
Perfect. Now, to start with, I will ask the very first question, and the question is very simple. At the same time, it will be the way, we all try to envision when we think about digital social media or storytelling. That could you help us to know how important a role effective content management plays in digital media marketing?
In fact, I always say that content is the foundation of digital marketing. but that foundation has to revolve around the customer. A few years back, BBC created a post in the organization called Chief Audiences Officer, and I think we all have to think in those lines. We have to think about the audience, which is the customer here.
Okay, so is it like, quite interesting, the way, it is like the chief audience officer. I guess now organizations have chief belief officer also.
Right.
So when we're talking about the content part, is it like the audience that is more, we have to talk about, or when we're looking at the importance of the content into it, is it like I can utilize the power of storytelling?
Yes, definitely. Storytelling is the most powerful tool for digital marketing, for content marketing. In fact, there have been some articles recently that storytelling is the future of digital marketing. So everybody is going to tell stories only in the future.
So is it like good stories or bad stories?
Both good and bad, both inspirational and controversial.
So I can say controversial good story and inspirational bad story. Is that correct?
It depends. I think there are certain things which are dependent upon individual to individual. What can be inspirational for one person may not be inspirational for another person. What may be controversial for me may not be controversial for somebody else.
So, I will now leave, this open, forum for all, where there are certain questions that will be coming from the audience now. So, let me see, from where we have to start. Who would be the first one to ask the question?
So, I have one question, Dr. Nagpal. While you understand that content has a major role to play in digital social media, can you please help me understand or help the audience understand the characteristics of a content which is great and impactful at the same point of time?
Okay. Let us, since I already talked about the customer or the audience, now what about the customer and audience we have to take care of? Like, let us look at the, finer points. First, it should be audience interest. What is the audience interested in reading, watching, knowing? So, understanding the audience in terms of interest. Second is audience mood. There was this research which says that when we watch television news in the morning, we are more interested or more open to serious news, but when we watch same television news in the evening, we want a little bit of entertainment or, because we are tired. So, the audience mood has to be understood. Like Saturday, Sunday, I post, even, you may be, it may be surprising for you, but I post wisdom stories or romantic stories even on LinkedIn, and I write weekend fun, So, because on Saturday, Sundays, audience is in the mood of the weekend or the entertainment mood.
And also there's a little buzz around content being authentic. So do you have anything to share with the audience about creating an authentic content?
Yes, authentic content, I would say, is you have to share your failures, for example. Now, it can be, if we are talking of people branding, it can be failures of people. If we are talking of organizational branding, organizations can also have failures, organizations can also make mistakes. So when we tell authentic stories, we talk about our failures, we talk about the lessons which we learned from the failure and how we utilize those lessons in becoming a better organization or a better entrepreneur.
Thank you so much.
That's where we normally look at, when we talk about authentic content. Is it a content when you did your interview with Sahara? At that time you spoke about how news is becoming a tamasha.
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
So will you call that as an authentic content?
See, there are two perspectives.
Can you please give a story of it, that how you came up with that topic as a thesis, and then how it was published as a proper book?
Okay. So, Hindustan Times used to publish a weekly magazine in those days, which was infotainment. So that is how I came to know of this term called infotainment.
And that was the year?
This was around 2003-04.
Okay.
So, I had seen that evolution personally because in childhood I used to watch Doordarshan, and on Doordarshan news was like a holy cow, there was no sponsored news, sponsored headlines, that kind of a thing on Doordarshan. So I had seen that evolution happening on news where, more and more commercialization was happening. And I had seen that evolution in terms of it was a negative evolution, not a positive one, from news to infotainment, where a little bit of masala and entertainment was being added to the news, and then finally it ended up as Tamasha, where I have watched news where they are discussing Sonia Gandhi ji ka birthday hai और उसमें लड्डू में काजू भी हैं, किशमिश भी हैं, और I think there cannot be anything worse than that.
But can you please translate it for our international audience that when we talk about tamasha in Hindi, tamasha is like the word that we use, what in English we call tamasha as?
Tamasha in English would be melodrama.
Melodrama. So it's like more, it's not the common news. It's not even the infotainment. It is more about the melodramatic presentation of a news where there could be a big lady in India and what kind of a dessert is going, and in that dessert, what are the ingredients, could be the talk of the town. I guess that's what you meant by.
Yes, and in fact that is why I talk about empathy in storytelling so much. You must be remembering maybe 1 or 2 years back, there was a lot of protests against Indian journalists in Nepal. Because what they were doing, आपकी मदर की डेथ हो गई, आपकी मदर मर गई, आपको कैसा लग रहा है? I mean, had I been in that person's place, I would have slapped him. आपको कैसा लग रहा है? I mean, what is this bullshit?
So now, if that bullshit is what we guys are feeding to our audience, where I still remember one of the psychiatrists recently made this quotation: "You want to put anyone in depression, make them watch all news channels for 15 days." They will be in depression very soon. So is that what the authentic content vis-a-vis the relevant content Tassel would go for?
So that's why there's a saying that no news is good news. So what lessons we can learn from television or mass media for social media? I've also talked about in the book in terms of if audience wants tamasha, then media is in a way forced to provide that tamasha content. That is one angle to the story, and of course private commercial channels, you cannot expect that they will be act as the fourth estate and they will do their social duty to engage, to educate the audiences and all. Private sector is to make money. Government sector can do those social responsibilities and all. Private sector can be encouraged to be a little more responsible. But what lessons do we learn from, what are the lessons which we can learn which can be applied to social media also? For example, I will share one lesson. There is a saying that in television there are 3 C's: the crime, cinema and cricket. But when we researched more in detail about the television audiences, we found people also wanted to watch science news. People also wanted to watch spiritual news. So it was a false assumption that audience wants only crime, cinema and cricket. So we have to have a deeper understanding of the audiences, just not make, one of my teachers used to say, when you assume, you make an ass of you and me.
So now this brings us to the third question. And this question is more about what are the parameters that decide the kind of content that should be shared or for any business going for digital marketing.
Again, it has to start with the audience. You have to remember, for example, I think it's a very, very basic example that videos are very popular in the Western countries, but in India, because of bandwidth problems, visual content or text content is more popular. But in the future, Facebook Live or videos are becoming more and more popular. 4G has come in India. So we will see a more shift from visual content to video content. But right now, I would say it is visual content which is the most popular. So it's quotable quotes, images and all that stuff.
So and it's actually happening also. YouTube recently did their overall event of the club of 100,000 subscribers. And that was actually been endorsed by different line of businesses, right from education to healthcare to real estate to pharma to telecom. So of course the trend is surely shifting. But then the big question is still remains what are the typical parameters when we are talking about that the content should go for any business on digital marketing?
Okay, again, now here we are talking about
the parameters.
Business branding, not people branding principles would be different compared to business branding. So what kind of a content should an organization share in digital space from 2 perspectives? One is lead generation, other is branding of the organization. So from lead generation point of view, I would say again, you have to keep in mind the B2C and B2B. So if I am selling a cloud computing software at IBM, then of course I have to write very detailed blogs giving the technical details of how the software works and how it solves the problems. First maybe discuss the general issues and then come to your particular product and how it can help. So that is B2B. Now B2C, of course, when you are dealing with maybe a product like a soap or a television, you don't need to get into that kind of a detail.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And with this, we come to the end of our first sprint. Here we have covered the 3 questions. And these 3 questions are more about the content parameters, the relevance of content, and digital marketing. So see you soon for our second sprint. Thank you so much.